So this cool new article came across Discord and the DC435 Discord. And it's kind of comes off the heels of talking about privacy. And so at St. Con, Naomi Brockwell showed up, talked about becoming privacy advocates. One of the people there that is in the DC 435 group, he basically gave a presentation about privacy and basically did his part to become a privacy advocate. Coming off the heels of that is Google's new policy of tracking devices. Now, this was published back on the 18th, so it's been like half a week since it was published on this particular article. Now, it also is interesting because it kind of plays into another aspect of it all. So, what we have is Google has basically begun enforcing new tracking rules, and these are all not opt-out. So they are tracking like your browser and things like that without your consent and without your consent, really, and doing it no matter what. So the tech giant once called the fingerprint tracking technique wrong in 2019, but has since reintroduced it. So keep in mind that over the last little bit, Google has done a few different things that are, in essence, in a lot of ways, limit what you can do in your browser. So with that, it kind of follows a trend of them saying one thing and then doing another. I've covered a couple different companies doing a similar thing before in the past and done a series of videos on some of that. But anyway, so Google has commented that other companies broadly use the data and it started using on February 16th, 2024. However, they may not sound any better since fingerprinting gathers user data about devices, hardware, and software, which can then uniquely identify a specific device or user. So if you look at the different trackers that, things you can pull from it, so like what? Tracker, audit. There are different websites. I don't remember everything. Oh, wait, I'm looking for browser audit, right? Yeah, that one. So if you look at this stuff, we can go in here. Let's see. I can't remember. It's going to run for a second, but yeah. So you can get like information about the video card that you're running and everything from it. I don't remember where exactly you could, every website that does it, but Google is basically pulling that without asking your permission and things like that. Privacy campaigners have called Google's new rules on tracking people's online a blatant disregard of user privacy. Google has given itself and the advertising industry it dominates permission to use a form of tracking that people can't do much to stop. Let's see. Privacy-enhancing technologies offer new ways for our partners to succeed on emerging platforms without compromising on user privacy. Well, when you're tracking everything that a user does, you're getting a unique fingerprint of that user and everything that they're using. Now, let's see. Additionally, the tech giant stated that it was hard to target ads to users when they use conventional data collection on devices such as consoles and TVs because users controlled it with cookie consent. And that's the thing, is they are not asking for consent like most other websites are required to do. So fingerprinting basically tracks different hardware, software, plugins in your browser and things like that in order to figure out who you are and track you across where you go. Now, this also comes off the heels because later down below this article is another one. Google blocks popular ad blocker for security and privacy concerns. This was the ditch from Manifest v2 to purely Manifest v3 that a lot of people have had a lot of issues over. So this basically gimped uBlock Origin. And it's interesting that now that Chrome no longer has Manifest v2 support, Google now comes in and says, well, we're going to track you without your consent and fingerprint you after ditching that and gimping uBlock Origin. It kind of had a trend that was moving along the way. Everybody had an issue with Manifest v3 and the way that it worked, and Google kind of shoehorning it in. And then Google eventually shoehorned it in. And now they are tracking you, invasively tracking you through your browser because they have gimped the plugin system that allowed uBlock Origin to work and to fine-tune your blockers inside of any Chromium-based browsers. Now, of course, if you're using something like Brave or like various Firefox forks or even a fork of Chromium that still has support for Manifest v2 or has enhanced blocking or tracker protection in it, then you may be a little bit better off than using Chrome or most other Chromium-based browsers. So, and Google is using its dominant Windows browser market share anti-competitively to show this. Yeah, Tim Sweeney of Epic, of course. People have expressed their anger about the changes across social media. For example, Epic Games founder Tim Sweeney in a next post wrote, Google using it. Yeah. So, of course, coming from someone at Epic, yeah. And GIMP taking that has in the past sniped off Steam games from early access and angered users because all of a sudden people were expecting a Steam game when all of a sudden they got told, here's a code for the game on Epic. But yeah, so it's a huge deal since it will leave over 30 million Chrome users exposed to intrusive ads and send them on a mission to find a replacement. When you access uBlock Origin, Google recommends using other alternatives such as uBlock Origin Lite, AdBlock Plus. Now, uBlock Origin Lite is the gimped version of uBlock Origin. It is possible to install the regular uBlock Origin in a roundabout like developer way, but I'm not sure how well that would work with Manifest v2 being gone. It supposedly says that it will no longer work, but I don't know. uBlock Origin, I believe, in my ungoogled Chromium setup, still somewhat works, it looks like. So there is that. So if you're installing it manually from the archive package from the repo, then that may work for you. Google also says it wants to give users more control over what extensions can do, and with Manifest v3, it will move the background context of the service workers that will run only when needed. Eliminates the ability for an extension to use remotely hosted code, which represents security risk by allowing unreviewed code to be executed in extensions. With this change, an extension can only execute JavaScript that is included within its package and subject to review by the Chrome Web Store. So this means they can reject it if it doesn't do what they want it to. Oh, I don't remember exactly how uBlock Origin works with local code, but I would imagine that part of that would mean that you could block remote code. And if it's trying to do that, I don't know, depending on how the back and forth works, it could almost translate as, oh, you're trying to block remote code, but execute remote code, so we can't allow that. But yeah, it kind of opened up the gate for, they say it gives more control to the users locally, but at the same time, it means, in some ways, I guess you could still get away with installing your uBlock Origin through a roundabout way with going around Google by, yeah. Anyway, this comes off of the heels of shoehorning in Manifest v3 and them basically gimping a lot of our good plugins that we enjoyed in their browser. So now they're going to fingerprint even harder. If you liked the content, if you enjoyed it, if you think I deserve it, like, comment, subscribe, leave any criticisms you have or what have you. I appreciate it. Feed that algorithm, like I said, and I will see you guys in the next one.